All right, we're getting the latest news break. Well, this is an India Today exclusive. Senior writer of our sister publication India Today, Jyoti Malhotra, has spoken exclusively on the road ahead for India and Pakistan to Nawaz Sharif. In her exclusive interaction with Sharif, he conveyed to Jyoti Malhotra that he was more than willing to pick up the threads of dialogue that were snapped by India in mid-August 2014. The comments by Pakistan Prime Minister also comes ahead of the Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar's Islamabad visit on the March 3rd. India had resumed the dialogue under the banner of SAARC Yatra. The Pakistan Prime Minister said he was hopeful that the Indian Foreign Secretary's visit would lead to the resumption of meaningful dialogue. Pakistani sources in Islamabad added that this meant that India and Pakistan should follow up the Foreign Secretary dialogue with meetings between foreign ministers and later between the two prime ministers. I want to go to Jyoti Malhotra, the writer for our sister concern publication India Today. She's in the studio with me. She personally met Nawaz Sharif and she's going to give us details of that meeting. Jyoti, can you get us up to speed on what exactly Nawaz Sharif said to you on this dialogue being resumed?
Well, Preeti, I was in Islamabad a couple of days ago and I met the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, and he was extremely gracious and said to me that Pakistan welcomes this resumption of dialogue between India and Pakistan. As you know, the Indian Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar, is traveling to Pakistan tomorrow, to Islamabad tomorrow, where he will have talks with the Pakistan Foreign Secretary, and he is also expected to meet Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. So in this interaction that I had with the Pakistan Prime Minister a couple of days ago, and he said 2 or 3 very meaningful things. The first he said was that he was personally, and Pakistan was deeply interested in picking up the thread of the India-Pakistan dialogue. He reminded me that when he was last Prime Minister in 1999, then Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee had travelled on the bus from Amritsar to Lahore. They had crossed the Wagah-Atari border in that bus, and he had received Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee at the time. And the Lahore Declaration, it was this sort of very famous bus yatra, the Lahore bus yatra. Of course, in a few months later, after the Lahore bus yatra, the Kargil military episode took place, the Kargil conflict took place. So Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif told me that he was very, very keen and very hopeful that the visit of the Indian Foreign Secretary would mean the resumption of a meaningful dialogue between the two countries, between India and Pakistan.
How much do you reckon, Jyoti, that the SAARC Yatra would be lost to tokenism? Because we've heard all of this before from Mr. Nawaz Sharif.
Absolutely. We've not only heard all this before from Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, but we've heard all this before from other rulers in Pakistan. And let me remind you, Preeti, we've also heard the same sort of words or conversation or vocabulary by the Indian side. And the Indian Foreign Office is putting out that this is a SAARC Yatra, because you know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked the Foreign Secretary, the new Foreign Secretary, to first go to Bhutan, Bangladesh. This trip to Pakistan will take place tomorrow, and on the 4th of March, which is day after, Mr. Jaishankar will fly from Islamabad to Kabul. So in a sense, it's interesting that the Indian Foreign Ministry is using this sort of it's in a sense, I would say, it's even hiding behind the SAARC Yatra description to revive the dialogue. If you remember, in the middle of August, India had suspended the dialogue because the Pakistan High Commissioner to Delhi, Abdul Basit, had met Hurriyat leaders here in Delhi to New Delhi's irritation. And in a sense, I think India has had to eat humble pie. They've had to revive this suspended dialogue. Now, there are so many questions. What does it mean? Has the visit of the US President Barack Obama put pressure on India to revive this dialogue with Pakistan? But I think whatever the reasons, I think it's a very good sign, the fact that the ice is finally going to be broken tomorrow between the two countries. And I think it's a good step. Whatever the outcomes, small or big, I think in itself it's a good step.
Appreciate you joining us, Jyoti. A writer with our sister concern India Today spoke exclusively to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. We'll of course keep going back to her for more on that story and as it develops in the days to come. With that, we move on in the bulletin. It's been a major rejig for the Congress. 6 new appointments have been made of right before a possible elevation of Rahul Gandhi in the upcoming AICC session. Congress has appointed 5 new PCC chiefs and 1 regional Congress committee president. It is believed that the chosen 6 have Rahul Gandhi's seal of approval except Ashok Chavan. Ajay Makan will now take charge as the Delhi PCC chief, Ashok Chavan of Maharashtra, Ghulam Ahmad Mir in Jammu and Kashmir, Bharat Singh Solanki in Gujarat and Uttam Reddy in Telangana. AICC Secretary Sanjay Nirupam has now been made the chief of Mumbai Regional Congress Committee.